Welcome back to the channel. I thought I would kick off this video with a thank you for those that decided to tune in and give me their time. For those who don't know, I decided at the end of May that I wanted to change up some of my habits and watch less TV and read more books. A simple enough plan, but I'm not sure why I started so late in the year and not in January, or even years ago to be honest. But I guessed most New Year's resolutions fail anyway, so a May start it was. I had the idea and I ran with it and committed to the plan. It was simple. Research some currently popular books, look up the old classics, and try to find some hidden gems. My first place to start was YouTube, of course. Now, I see the irony about planning to use screens less and starting that by watching a long list of videos, but hey, I had to start somewhere and I needed ideas. Sources I found straight away were channels like Phil Got Books, Mike's Book Reviews, Talking Story, and Man Carrying Thing. I got some great suggestions on where to start, and particularly was drawn to Phil as he was in a similar situation to me, where he was just starting his reading journey and was coming at it from an angle of a regular guy who was making some changes to improve himself. The next step was to create a Goodreads account. Now I know what you're thinking, and yes, it's social media, but I don't use it for that. I've added about 5 or 6 friends and family, and I've used it to catalogue my reading and get some ideas about what they're reading. No doom scrolling the homepage for me. I didn't initially have the want to create a channel, but as I went along, I thought it might be a good way to discuss my thoughts on books with people outside my close circle and get some ideas and recommendations from places I hadn't thought to check. I started with a blank slate, and I decided to ignore the handful of books I'd read in my first 30 years and pretend like I was a baby starting from scratch who also had a competent reading skill, but also potentially a slight form of undiagnosed dyslexia to go along with my definitely diagnosed ADHD. My next challenge came from the fact that I didn't own any physical books, and my wife, while having a decent sized collection and being a hobby reader for most of her life, had a very different taste in stories than I did. We rarely have much overlap in entertainment content. I've been a big gamer and have finished a few hundred games in my life, I'd wager, and have seen hundreds of TV shows and movies, whereas my wife is more interested in playing exclusively The Sims and watching shows like Bridgerton or Grey's Anatomy. Definitely not my jam. I downloaded some audiobooks based on recommendations from the channels I mentioned earlier, and I was on my way. In a combination of audiobooks and reading physical books from the start of my journey at the very end of May to now when I make this video at the midpoint of July, I've read 25 books. This is already 50% of the way to the, I thought, extremely ambitious goal of 50 for the year that I set myself on Goodreads. Now, not all of these books have been long books. Some have only been just over 100 pages, while most range from the 300 to 600 page range. These books have been from all kinds of genres, and some were very recently released, while others are over a century old in their original form. I want good stories. I don't really care where they come from or who wrote them, or even what genre they are. I want great characters. I need unique storytelling, and I love the unexpected. Now, I don't just want to read fiction, although I do love it. One of the goals for this journey is to learn. So I do have historical books in the mix and a few biographies, although I do have to be very interested in an individual to want to hear a whole book about one person's life. So there probably won't be many modern day celebrities in the mix, with a handful of exceptions. I also probably won't have a ton of self-help books on my list either. Don't get me wrong, they can be great, and there can be valuable life lessons in some of them, but for the most part, I'm not that interested in them at this stage. But who knows? If there are some must-read recommendations for those, write it in the comments and I may check them out. The thing that excites me the most about books is how just in your hand you can hold countless hours of content for a specific topic, and your bookshelf can hold countless worlds. That's where I came up with the name of the channel, Portable Worlds. I have several video ideas in the works, and some of them will come out soon, and they will trickle out over time as I juggle work and family. If you have any recommendations for books, leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe, as it would mean a great deal to me. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate everyone watching this. See you next time.